good to have you here. If you're in the live chat, say hi. I'm using a completely new system, new to me anyway, for the broadcast today. So excuse me if I'm all fingers and thumbs and get things in the wrong place. You'll probably see that later on. But it is good to have you here. If you're in the live chat, do say hi. Let us know where you're from. And do make sure as well, I was just talking with my guests backstage about this, do make sure to take part in the show. Give us your thoughts on the music that you're hearing today. I want to say thank you to the artists who have been submitting their music. It's quite a big thing to kind of put your music out there for the first time and have it critiqued. We could be saying positive things, we could be saying negative things. So I just want to thank them for having the courage to do that with their music, and everybody that we've had on the show has taken it really, really well when there has been a little bit of less positive critique going on. So I'm really impressed by that. I want to say thanks to my sponsor, DistroKid. We'll be talking about them here and there in the show. Don't forget, if you use that link, which is down in the description, you will get a further 7% off an already great price for their product. If you do want to enter some music, by the way, for this show and have it critiqued by our wonderful guests on the show, you can follow the link in the description for that as well. There's a little form you can fill out. Now, I know some people have asked me, hey, Mike, I submitted mine a few weeks ago, or even sometimes a few months ago. Is it going to be on the show? The answer is I don't know. I go through a few each week, and when I think I've found 3 that will go on the show, there's no particular order or anything like that. It's kind of a little bit random the way I choose them. But I don't want you to feel kind of offended if you don't get on the show. I'm just looking for certain things, certain weeks, and obviously I can't play everyone. But thank you so much for submitting, and please do keep sending them in. And somebody has already mentioned a really important topic. That is Doug. I should mention Doug Kidder. He's in the chat here. He's mentioned a really important topic for the show. One of the reasons I've changed the system is we've moved on. I think from the 1960s all the way into the 1970s now. We've gone from mono to stereo in the show. It's taken me 12 weeks. And I do believe, Doug, yes, I do believe that we do have everything in stereo tonight. We'll soon find out. 2 things are very important on this show, apart from the left and the right speakers, are the 2 guests that I've got on here. Just absolutely wonderful guys. Have to say they're my favourite 2 guests that I have on. And I know I say that to everyone, but for these 2, it happens to be true. That's not true, but anyway. I'll bring up the first of them and the prettiest of the 2, actually. In actual fact, let's bring up Mr. Ricky T. There he is.
Hey,
Ricky.
Hey, everybody.
For those of you who don't know, so I'll let you talk in a moment, Ricky, I promise. For those of you who don't know, Ricky T. Brown is the founder of the best Facebook group there is for home studio recording, even better than my own Facebook group, in fact. And his T-shirt says it all, really, and I'm really glad it does, because I am a little bit dyslexic with the acronym for your group. It's the Home Recording Studio Zone, or as your T-shirt says, HRSZ. How's it going over there, Ricky, at HRSZ?
Yeah, we've had a bit of fun this week. I won't say any more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's, the end result is all good, I should say. So,
I noticed a little bit of news for your group. Probably not of any interest to anyone outside of your group, but let's go there anyway, is that you've got a new moderator called Ricky. This is going to get confusing, Ricky.
Yes, Ricky Washer Tavares, yeah.
Where's he from? I don't know him. Tell me about him.
He's from Tucson in Arizona.
I didn't mean where's he from geographically.
Well, that's what you asked me.
I mean, where's he from? Like, what's his background? How is he known to you?
Well, I first became aware of Ricky. I think it was like a couple of years ago now. I mean, he'd been a member from almost the start, but we had a post your tracks kind of thing, and he put up his one, and I'm telling you, I was just completely bowled over by the musicians, production, mixing, quality of what he did. I was a fan from day one,
Awesome.
kind of thing.
It's always good to have
He's
someone who knows about music and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's helpful.
It's
That's
helpful.
helpful. Well, I'll tell you what I mean. Look, as you know, I've been doing this a long time, and so when it comes to would I trust anyone with my stuff, um, he's one of the few people actually that I would. I because he's just good. So it's a real bonus having him on board as a moderator now. So yeah, Ricky is
Awesome.
is top guy.
Just want to say hi to some people in the chat. We've got Gary Owens here. He's a very special person. We'll find out about him later on in the show. We've also got. I read this as Smart Ass, but it's actually Smart Arts Inc. So yeah,
Yes.
of course I would read it as Smart Ass, wouldn't I? Because um, that's me. And we've also got Mr. Pete Johns there. Now, Pete, you're
Hey.
also wonderful. You're also wonderful. Pete put me onto the service that I'm using today, which is Restream. As I say, hopefully in stereo. We haven't had a chance to find out properly yet from the audience. Now, I believe as well that we are going out to Facebook. This is another new thing which is happening on this show. So if, I don't know, Pete, I don't know, maybe you can tell me about this, Pete. How do I see comments from Facebook? Can I see comments from Facebook? It's all new to me. Let's get our next guest on the show, though, before I ramble on too much. He is absolutely the king, the master of home room treatment, DIY room treatment. He's well known for it, but he also happens to be a really awesome guitarist who's played on some of my videos as well. So it's very good to see him here. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Dan, also known as the Lonely Rocker. There he is, in the middle.
Hey.
In the middle, where I
don't know if you
should
should
be.
be in the
Might I
middle.
say that I am the third prettiest in the company of you two studs? I'm completely fine with that.
Is it nice to be sandwiched in between us?
This is a family show, Mike. This is a family show.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you here, Dan. Tell us about. Let's just go straight in there. Tell us about the latest video on your YouTube channel this week. By the way, people follow the link in the description.
Oh, that was a guitar EQ video.
Yes.
I'm trying to do more and more guitar. And he said I'm kind of known for my acoustic panels. I got them on the wall here. That was like the first video I did, and it's just been I don't know, it's done well. But I am a guitar player, and I'm trying to do more and more guitar content. So I talk about EQing heavy guitars because heavy guitars take up more room than an elephant in a clubhouse, right? So, how do you squeeze them in, make them still sound big and nice, yet fit them in context of your whole mix?
Awesome. Just a quick question, because we were discussing, and I've just got this come up, and Nick Ellis in there is asking this completely off topic. Sorry, Dan, to interrupt you, but he's asking this question, which I think is interesting. Why do some people have their microphones downside up? What a wonderful expression, downside up. Do you guys know the answer to that? I mean, Ricky's got his upside down. So.
Well, if his was the other way, we wouldn't be able to read his T-shirt.
No, it's
Very
fun.
true. Very true.
Yeah,
Very true.
Yeah.
Do either one of you guys want to take that? Why some people have their microphones?
Well, that kind of came from. I mean, I used to do that when I was tracking vocalists, and I found that suspending the mic that way encouraged their position to be one where they would sing better, basically, because we're up, So there was a benefit from doing that from a performance point of view, but scientifically, I don't know that there's actually any difference really from one orientation to the other. I could be wrong.
I think you're correct that it does, for some reason, encourage just the little lift up from the singer. But unless Dan wants to jump in and give the actual answer, Dan, do you remember we talked about this?
Well, we talked about the transfer of heat. Is that what you're trying to refer
That's
to?
right. No, I don't know. Maybe it's an urban myth, but what I heard was, and I'm going to try this out because I've just come into the possession of a microphone, which is a tube or a valve. We call them valves in Australia. You call them tubes down in Canada, do you? Or see, you should join the rest of the Commonwealth.
We are part of the Commonwealth, so tubes, valves, all
But
good. As long as
anyway,
you have them, I'm in.
Nick, I have heard it said, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, that there is a reason to do it with valve microphones, something to do with heat transference when it's upside down. Apparently improves the sound in some way or improves efficiency. I don't know. I've never really noticed a difference in sound, to be honest with you, but there you go. One of those things. There may be a reason for it, but it also makes you look more professional in your music videos as well. Is the main reason why most people do it.
Is that why some of the rappers sing like this?
Oh yeah, when you see them singing into the end of a side address condenser mic, that's anyway. Anyway, I haven't checked all the videos for our featured artists tonight. Maybe one of them is doing that for all I know. Let's move on with the show. And get on. We've got a great show lined up tonight as well. I'm so sort of excited about the three songs that we've got on tonight. And the first one, I'm going to let one of you fine men introduce this song. I'm going to go through before I play it. But you can say the name, Dan. I'll give this one to you. It's on the screen now.
Is that? Oh, there's a thing in the way here. I can't even see it.
Oh.
This new system, the overlay is blocking the screen.
Oh dear. Okay, I'll take
Gary
this one.
Owens.
That's
Shine.
correct.
There we go.
Shine. That is correct. So Gary is from Liverpool in the UK, and he in his own quotation marks says he works as a glorified shelf stacker during the day for a large supermarket. Shine is a tribute to his work colleagues who suffered in different ways during lockdowns. There's a lot of lockdown music, isn't there? It's like the blues of our time, the lockdown song. Originally composed on a baritone ukulele. I don't think that's in the final recording. He starts off with a scratch track. And I don't know if you guys do this, but just a rough track of the song. I find that particularly useful to get a natural tempo for the song. Otherwise, you can miss that, and you listen to it the next day and think, why did I do that so fast? Or so you play more naturally. Anyway, so he starts off like that, then he puts down an addictive drums rough drum track, and I find that useful. I'm sorry to keep sidetracking here, but I find it much easier to play along with a rough drum track than I do an actual click. And also you can take it out of certain parts of the songs where you don't really want to have a click, like the ending of just after the last chord, etc. Anyway, very useful thing to do. He likes to use the synthesizers which came along with Cakewalk originally. They don't anymore, but Rapture and Dimension Pro with older versions of Cakewalk. He uses some other plugins, Native Instruments, Acoustic, Strummer Dan, and Electric Sunburst, and Tune Tracks Easy Keys and Easy Bass. Mainly uses Waves and Cakewalk native plugins for compression and EQ, masters using Isotope, Ozone. Lots of people do that. I've used it myself. Wonderful system for mastering. And interestingly, and I want you to remember this last comment, he doesn't like the sound of his own voice. He normally works with another singer. And because of sort of lockdown and thing, he wasn't able to do it at the time of this recording. So he sung it himself. Let's have a listen to this in stereo. Gary Owens, Shine.
Hey.
Walk with me, slow on a journey strong, and take my hand. It won't take very long. Without someone to believe in, without someone to lend a helping hand, without truth forever after, without friends to show you foreign lands. And I will shine all my light for you. And I will breathe all my life for you. Without someone to relax with, without someone to share your common ground, without help and understanding, all that's hidden will finally be found. And I will shine all my light for you. And I will breathe all my life for you. A little stronger every day.
Well, first things first, I got to say, it was a bit short.
Yeah.
I could have had a little bit more of that. But anyway, this is not about my opinion. I want to start off and I want to hear from Dan first. Dan?
So the first impression I got listening to this was it sounds like it might be very personal. I mean, and the reason I'm coming at it this way is that, you know, I know we're into home recording, we're thinking about the production and everything like that, but I found myself listening to the song. And I think that's a testament to the song itself. Maybe this is personal experience or personal reflection or something. So I found myself thinking about that while I was listening to the song. So I think it was very effective in that sense. From a production standpoint, lovely the textures in there. There was a little thing happening on the bass guitar in the verses because I'm very simple, but going off the root notes a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just like it just added to the emotion of the texture of the song. Just one extra little bass note that kept, and it really grabbed me. I like that a lot. And yeah, just lots of beautiful texture and very reflective overall. I mean, the fact that I found myself kind of getting sucked into the song and sort of not even thinking about all the production stuff, I think really says a lot about the track. So well done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Wow. It sounds like you've just given like a 10 points there. If we were giving points, Dan, it's nice.
I had breakfast before the show.
So, Ricky, how about you?
I absolutely loved it. I'm a sucker for sweet melodies and stuff, and I think he really nailed that, and it really conveyed the atmosphere of what he was singing about. You know, I found that it was very reflective, and he picked the right chords to take you there. You know, but it's just so well done. What stage did you say this was at?
What stage?
As in, I think you mentioned that it was. Did he describe it as a scratch track or something?
No. He was talking about he starts off with a scratch track and
I see. I see.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. It's a beautiful song, and I think if the whole COVID thing, we can all relate to that. In our individual ways, and there's something for everyone in that song. So well done. I've got nothing to say.
It's hard, isn't it? Because the better a song is in some ways, the less there is to say about it.
Yeah,
but I would say, in terms of, I don't know, critique, if you like, to Gary. Sometimes it needs someone else to tell you, because most of us don't like the sound of our own voice. Your voice is good.
Yeah.
You know, I know you perhaps will never like the sound of your own voice, but I'm glad you sung on this, because it was the first thing that I noticed when I first listened to the song a week or two back. And it was almost, I don't want to use the word jarring, but it was striking. The nature of the voice, the character of the voice was striking right off the bat, right? Something about the way Gary pronounces things and what have you. And that's very important. Lots of people can have good voices, but they're boring as hell. They're not distinct. They're not unique in any way. Yours is the kind of voice where once people know you, they can go, "Oh, sounds like Gary Owen singing," right? They'll get to know that voice. Got a great character to it. So, like Dan, I picked up on the bass guitar parts, which were a little bit offbeat here and there in a good way, and that was wonderful. And I also loved the strings. When the strings came in, the whole thing just went into a really nice, lifted in a really, really nice way. So, in terms of balance, it was a well balanced track for me. You know, all in all.
Generally when I'm involved, we often get into the discussions about samples and digital instruments, but this is an example where he used them as a part of the palette to create a song, and not as an easy way to create the song. Like he didn't I'm not privy to the production, but at least listening to it, it didn't sound like he assembled a bunch of samples and just sang over it, where everything was placed nicely. He used the tools to their fullest, right? And made it his song. And that's a great use of digital tools. And I'm fine with that. Like, you know, me, lonely rocker, I make music by myself, so I need that assistance. So I like how everything seemed to have a place, and it felt composed, and, you know,
beautiful song. Beautiful song.
I strongly encourage that he should definitely go ahead and release that to the world if he hasn't. And if he was going to release it to the world, what service would he use to do that? Well, I think Ricky's in a good position to suggest a link that he could click on if he should want to release his music to the world. Definitely go ahead, use DistroKid and release it. Well, it's ever so easy. I think it costs $19.99 a year for an unlimited number of original songs. Okay, we'll talk about covers a little bit later, but an unlimited number of original songs. Very easy to do if you're not into that kind of technical stuff. Here I am. I've got this song. I prepared a little bit of an artwork from an old photo I had, chucked the words on there, then went through, just filled out this one form, which takes a few minutes or so, like we can see here, and that's it. When you get through to the end and you actually upload your song and your artwork, DistroKid does all the rest for you. So we're talking about, you know, getting it off to, like Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and Amazon and all of the other awesome places, as Pete Johns often talks about, that you can release your music to. So definitely after the show, not right away, after the show, if you have not distributed any of your music to the world yet, and you want to do it the easy way, then follow the link for DistroKid. So we've got something really special up next, and I've got to do a little bit of navigation here on the technical side of things. So you excuse me if I explain this a little bit badly. I'm just having to off camera do all kinds of things here. Actually, you just wouldn't believe how technical it all is. Anyway, so the next song up is from, in fact, let's have Ricky introduce this one. Ricky, there you are. It's up on the screen.
Okay. This next song is by Chrome Star, and Dreams Are Not Waiting For.
Dreams Are Not Worth Waiting For I had to correct you there, Ricky. It's okay. I'll get the name of your Facebook group wrong all the time. So you're entitled to get a song title wrong. But it was one of the things.
Sorry, Chrome Star.
What a great title, though. Dreams Are Not Worth Waiting For. That struck me right away. Good title.
Let me say it.
Go on, say it. I'll put it up on the screen.
Chrome Star. Dreams Are Not Worth Waiting For.
Unlike it's worth waiting for Ricky to get it right.
Okay, so just a little bit of a serious moment on this, guys, for a moment. I've been speaking with Scott from Chrome Star, and he's told me a little bit of a story behind this song. Chrome Star were partway through recording their debut album last year when their bass player, Frank Codrington, unfortunately passed away due to pancreatic cancer and then COVID. I have prepared a photo of Frank here for us, so that we can sort of honour his part in this project. Unfortunately, he was only able to record a couple of tracks with them, and this is one of them, though. So we get to hear some of Frank's final work in this. So just, I'm sure me and the guys will collectively like to definitely join together and, you know, offer our condolences to anybody who knows Frank who's watching, and certainly the band members as well. That's a tough situation to be going ahead and you know, releasing an album and in this sort of situation. So thoughts with you guys there. So the song itself was mixed and mastered using Cakewalk. It does have all live instruments on it. You'll be glad to hear, Dan. The drums were recorded at Friend's studio, and then they took them back to Scott's place for production. He sort of mentioned that it was a little bit of a struggle with the drums. Had to use, you know, to align the drums, as it were, in the DAW, used a plugin from Waves called In Phase, and then went ahead and used Slate Trigger to add some drum samples as well. Even some of my great drummer friends do add extra drum samples to their music. A great practice to do to beef up some of the drums, certainly. The interface used was a Universal Audio Apollo Duo rack going into a Carillion audio PC. I'm not sure what that is, to be honest with you. It may be well known, but I don't know about it. The guitars were recorded live through a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe into a Sennheiser E609 dynamic mic, and also an AKG C214 condenser, which I've reviewed on the channel and is an awesome microphone. Absolutely loved that. And the bass, which Frank was playing, was recorded directly into a Universal Audio LA610 with a little bit of gentle compression. I often find this with bass guitar. You don't always have to amp up bass guitar. It can work on lots of music just direct in. And then strings were added using the free Spitfire Discovery. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this is a free library from Spitfire, and lots of acts on the show have actually used it as their string section. Just a little sidetrack, I was working on something the other day. I wasn't happy with the strings, and I've got some pretty expensive string libraries, so I was doing the old swap around, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll try that free BBC one, and that was the one I settled on. It was really... it's just such a great library. Incredible stuff. If you haven't already got it, definitely go ahead and get it. And the vocals were recorded, I say this, I'm hesitating to say this, the vocals were recorded using a Neumann U87. Okay. The reason I say I'm hesitant to say this is a renowned and a very expensive microphone. It's there for a reason. They do sound wonderful under the right circumstances. I just never want people to think that they have to have a U87 before they release music. Okay, that's my main thing about it, and that's why I'm a little hesitant. So let's go ahead and listen to this song, which is, as I say, called, I hope I've teed it up, actually. I hope I've teed it up. It's called Dreams Are Not Worth Waiting For, from Chrome Star.
start again, to start again. And you keep telling yourself your dreams will all come true in the end. In the end, one day your sun will never rise again. So dreams are not worth waiting for. Live every day like it's the last, but life will come to you. As the morning arrives, you gotta take a breath and live a brand new day. Yeah. With the sun on your face and the wind at your back, you can sail away. You can sail away. One day your sun will never rise again. So dreams are not worth waiting for. Live every day like it's the last, but life will come to you. Come to you. They'll come to you.
Well, I think we're going to start off with the one and only Ricky here. Just let us know
Wow.
your thoughts, buddy.
Hello. What was saying on here? I can't hear you now. Hold
Oh,
on.
You can't hear
I
me.
can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah, this one. Cool. What a track. Yeah, you've upped your game this week, Mike. Wow. The first one was great. Yet another great track. I don't want to repeat myself or anything, So I've got to be ultra harsh now. Since you put the bar up.
Why not just delve into what made it great for you?
Okay.
I mean,
I loved this track. I mean, the arrangement, it was so well thought out, and there was space for everything that was going on in there. It did have a little bit of a late 80s vibe. I think it was more the keyboards that gave me that feeling of, yeah, it's from some of the ideas from that era. The one and only, wouldn't even call it a criticism, but the last guitar break, I felt he was just being a little bit too conservative, because that's when you want it to soar. Yeah, it should be doing that. Yeah, there was space for it at that moment, but that is the only thing that I would say positively. If there's anything negative to say about it, I think they missed a trick there, because the space was there to do it, and it would have been so fitting with everything else that had gone on the track. So a massive well done to I'm sorry, what's his name again?
Well, the band are called Chrome Star. Well, we were speaking
Chrome Star.
with
Yeah,
Scott,
yeah. Listen, you guys are quality. Trust me, you're quality. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Good. Glad to hear you enjoyed it, Rookie.
Yeah.
Dan, there was a lot in there for you, wasn't there? There was a lot of real things.
A lot
in there.
a lot to unpack here. Well, I want to just sort of add on to what Ricky said about the ending, that definitely there was a lot of room for a solo. And what, like, I was almost hearing, like, I mean, that melody, the harmony that he added, he was building it. And I almost started hearing it should have started to transpose. And then, like Ricky said, take flight at the end. There was time and space for that. That I agree. I don't even want to call that a criticism. It's just like live. I'm sure he's going to do with that. If they play live, definitely have fun in that part. Yeah. Well, the first thing I do want to say is just sort of the backstory and the loss of the bass player. I mean, both you and I have experienced loss recently, and I'm sure many viewers have, and I know what that feels like. And I think just the way this whole video was presented, I don't know if they had a stand-in for the bass player, so they couldn't show his face. And I love how
that was
him.
Okay. So they in the video,
Okay. So, but the fact that it almost looked like it was done anonymously, where you barely saw anyone's face, is just a little bit of the singer, that everyone was sort of in the same boat. That's how I absorbed that, anyways. But I mean, it seems like these guys are of a similar vintage to us, so maybe that's why we may share some ideals. But we talk about this, especially when I'm here, I talk about it a lot, is that I appreciate the effort that goes into making music, and that something like this is the culmination of years of practice and experience, and I don't begrudge anyone in this world making music, but not if it's going to stunt your growth as an artist. These guys can play their instruments, they can write songs, they can arrange, they understand harmony, melody and dynamics and structure. These are things that don't come in a box. These come with experience, and it's so refreshing to hear. I mean, I was listening to it, I much like Ricky said, early 80s. I heard Styx in there, I heard REO Speedwagon in there, and the pop element of rock was definitely there, which is maybe not in flavor in this time, but it's a shame that it's not, because it has all of those elements to grab you, memorable melodies and emotion and that. So definitely kudos to them for that. I wish there was more of that in music today, and I wish more people took that seriously today, because there's a term floating around that I hate, and it's when it's usually young beat makers calling old school rock dad rock. Right? I said, well, your dad learned how to play and you didn't. So there it is. These guys, you didn't learn from your dad, you learned from your friends, and that was a mistake. You're going to pay for it. Right? But these guys really enjoyed the song. Very refreshing to hear someone put craft into music. Yeah. And that hits you right there when they do that, because you can feel the emotion coming through their fingers. And that's why I play music, and probably no other reason. So I tip my hat and my condolences to them, and I think they honored their friend beautifully.
Yeah, respect. Respect.
Absolutely. I haven't got much more to add. I particularly love harmonies, and there was thick vocal harmony there. Obviously, quite a few overdubs, and I just love it. You can never have enough for me. Enjoy it immensely. It sounds so rich. But I'm just reminded a little bit by the first track and the second one here of what an important role the bass plays in the music. And it's sort of like one of those things, I guess we think of, singers and lead guitarists tend to attract more attention from, the media or whoever's watching. And that's understandable, but I always feel like the nature of a bass player is to quietly sit back, know he won't get recognition for what he does, like a good parent really, but he's actually holding it all together. And without the bass being just right, a lot of other things are wrong, when it's there. And sometimes it's simplicity, but in both of these songs we heard bass playing, which was relatively simple to play, but creative in its nature. For me, put a bass guitar in my hand and I'm just root notes all the way. There's a craft. Bass players or good bass players actually need to understand quite a lot about harmony, chord structures, and things like that to be able to play the instrument well and effectively. So it's sort of a bit of I'm just using the example here of Frank to tip my hat to bass players in general, and what they bring to our art form is just incredible and one of the most enjoyable parts of music for me to listen to. And I really was, even without the backstory there with this piece of music, I definitely would have been listening to this song and going, I dig that bass guitar. It's just really nice, the way it's in there. So, a big loss there. I can see that in terms of, what this band will have experienced, and hopefully they can move forward and find a worthy replacement. I know that will be hard, but I bet you guys are great live. I bet this music would sound fantastic live. So I definitely like to hear the rest of this album as well. We've got all original music on the show tonight. There's no covers. Occasionally we do have covers, and if you do want to submit a cover into the show, do feel free to do that. I'm happy to play cover songs. I'm more likely to play them if they're a little bit different from the original. I will say that, or if there's something particular about the production. And you can release your cover songs on with my friends at DistroKid as well. You can release cover music through there quite easily, in fact, surprisingly easy. I'm just going to ask one of you guys a question so that I can take care of a technical exercise here. Let me just randomly think of a question. Dan, what was the last cover song you learnt to play?
Oh, wow. It's funny. I was thinking about this just the other day because I rarely do covers, but when I started my channel, I did some a Foo Fighters cover and a Rush cover, and I was actually thinking about redoing a Rush cover that I did a bunch of years ago, which is Limelight. But just from a technical perspective, like I don't play the song any better, but I want to improve on the tones and the sounds that I recreated. So but what have I learned? I'm writing all my own music, but I was thinking about it. So does that count as an answer?
We can move on now. You filled in enough time for me to show that on DistroKid, you can in fact release covers. You just have to pay $12 per year per song. So $1 per month for every cover song that you release on DistroKid. They take care of all the permissions and everything for you. You don't have to reach out to publishers or anything like that. They do all of the leg work for you. They make sure that you keep up to date and you're not infringing any copyright laws or anything affecting your music. So if you thought it was good, if you thought, hey, I've done this great different version of a cover song, I'd really like to put it out to the world, but probably the artist is not going to give me permission or whatever. It doesn't work like that at all. Don't worry about that. Those sort of days are gone. You could definitely go ahead and just use a service like DistroKid. They're all of that out for you. I can't believe we're on to of the show already. It's just been great fun listening to the music, but all great things have to come towards an end. And I'm not going to say leave the best till last, but I definitely think that what I'm doing here is maintaining the same quality that we've had throughout the show. So I've got a feeling with this that both of my guests are going to end up praising it. But, whatever. We can't criticise everything. But this is from a good friend of the channel. His name is Tony Mark. This song is called Hey. It's actually, he recorded this a little while ago. It's not a recent recording, but he submitted it, and there was something about it. I thought, yeah, I'd really like to put this on the show. He described it as quickly recording the basis of the track when his wife was out one day, invited the drummer over who took up the living room. So he tried to get as far away from the drummer as he could with his acoustic tanglewood guitar. That's an interesting process, trying to record an acoustic guitar with a live drummer, and had his son play bass guitar. They played the basis of the recording like that live. No click track or anything used, just a freeform playing, which he did say for some of the edits that he tried to do. That does make life more difficult, but he managed to get away with it. He then later, I should mention that he's using Cakewalk, of course. He later added his Gretsch Electromatic. I'm a big Gretsch fan, as you would know, and I do not mind the Electromatic series whatsoever. It's kind of their mid-range. It's not their super expensive stuff, but it's their kind of mid-range stuff. Awesome guitars. And Dan would understand this a little better than me, but he put some microphones in front of a PV tube modeling amp. I'm not familiar with PV tube modeling amps, but so that's an interesting idea. Still a real amp, but there's some modeling going on there, but recorded with a microphone, and recorded, I believe, a little live piano in there as well. So I've got this in big letters here. And I do remember that Tony said to me in the email that some guests of the show will be pleased to hear there was no virtual instruments tortured or killed or used during this recording. So let's have a listen to it, the final song of the show. Don't forget, in the live chat, do keep those comments coming. I love hearing what you guys think about the music that we're playing. Let's have a listen to this one.
Hey, I love you. Don't I mean a thing to you? And hey, I need you. Can't you see how I missed you? The people think I'm crazy just to go on wanting you, but hey, I can't help it, 'cause I know you're the only one for me. What possessed treat you so unkind? All those stupid words came from a mix of mine. Now there's only love in this heart of mine, which will burn for you till the end of time. So I just wanna be with you, girl. No, I never will believe we're through, girl, 'cause I've loved you even more, girl, since you turned and walked away. Hey, I'm sorry for the hurt I've put you through. Please forgive me. Love's so empty without you. People think I'm crazy just to go on wanting you, but hey, I can't help it, 'cause I know you're the only one for me. Oh, how I messed up. Wish I could rewind. take the place of you.
Okay, so I feel like there's a lot more to say about this one, and I've put Dan up there big, not by mistake, of course, not that I don't know what I'm doing with all these controls, but because I feel like I'm going to go to Dan first on this occasion.
All right. Well, I'm here.
There's quite a lot more to say, I think, with this, Dan, though, isn't there?
There is.
I'll let you go ahead and talk about a few things.
Well, I mean, let's start. Another great track. Again, a band that's playing their instruments and great arranging, and just like those little drops and time things that came. Love stuff like that. That means the musicians are listening to each other, working this out. I love doing stuff like that in music. That's one of my favorite things, just to make sure that everyone knows that we're in sync. We're doing these little things, and that's great. Vocally, had a very kind of modern spin on a sort of traditional role, if that makes any sense. I heard some more modern rock artists, but with a song title like "Hey," the first thing you think of is like a Pink Floyd or something like that. So a real like tossed salad of influences, which was good to hear. Just nice guitar playing, nice melody, really nice. And the arrangement was really clever, I think, is the best way to describe it. From more of a constructive criticism, and you explained how they were tracking the drums with the acoustic guitar. I did sense some issues specifically with the drums, because it sounds like the drums have sort of a big open sound, but the cymbals were sort of overpowering everything, forcing the drum kit to come back in the mix, because I wanted to feel that big drum kit. And if they did it more in a live context, cymbals are very hard to mix if they're not mic'd properly and placed properly, and you're contending with bleed and things like that. I don't get the opportunity to mix real drums a lot, but I had the pleasure of doing that earlier this year with a drummer who agreed to play on one of my songs, and he tracked everything, and there was some issues with the cymbal side, and it took me weeks to figure it out. It was never perfect. So I found myself thinking about that. There was a challenge there. I don't know exactly what it was, but the drums felt a little bit too background for me. On occasion, the cymbals were just overpowering, and the acoustic guitar sometimes was overpowering the drums themselves. So I'd like to see them, if possible, to kind of get in there and see if they can balance that a little bit better. But that doesn't take away from the song and everything else that they put in place, because I think it's a really good track. So
Cool. Let's move on to Mr. Ricky T. Brown. What were your thoughts?
Hey, for me, I felt this song had it had the bones of a great track, and all the things that have been mentioned about the arrangement, and where certain drops were put and that kind of thing. Clearly, there's a level of musicianship at play here, but I think this song would benefit from I suppose tidying up some of the bits. I mean, Dan touched on, certainly the drums jumped out at me. It's like, ooh, okay, I can hear what you're meant to be doing, but I'm not sure that it was actually quite pulled off. I mean, there were things in there that you might forgive a live performance, because, when you're on stage, man, it's the vibe, and sometimes you don't get it 100% right, but it feels good, yeah. But as if I'm going to judge it as a recording, it's like there are certainly some mix issues for me. I noticed towards the end of the song that the vocals were panned hard left, kind of thing, and for me that kind of unbalanced it, because then it made the lead vocal sound like it was coming from that side, and well, I know there's a freedom to mix how you want, but I always expect the lead vocal to be somewhere near the middle. And I think mix-wise, it may have been better to have, if it was a 3 or 4 part harmony, it's like, okay, have double up and split them so they were kind of either side of the center. So it would improve the sound stage for me. It sounded more like it was, oh, okay, did you really mean to do that? Because didn't quite work for me. that way of mixing it. And the drums, yes, certainly in places got a bit lost. I mean, yeah, the cymbal was a little bit splashy. Yeah. As I said, you know, I'm trying really hard not to make it sound like I don't like the song. I do. It's just another go at mixing this right, and then maybe address some of the drum issues. And this could be, you know, a fantastic, fantastic song that bypasses any critique. Yeah.
It's interesting you say. I mean, that was my sort of probably fourth listen of the song just then, and I found myself. To me, it spoke a little bit to the power of the song because I'd noticed all of the same things that you guys had talked about before, but in fact, the sort of I was just getting into the vibe of the song. There's a certain looseness to that recording. It is like a live recording, which is really enchanting to me. But yeah, definitely the drums in terms of production. Where someone was mentioning in the comments that it sounded a little bit harsh. I think that someone was saying that the whole recording sounded a little bit harsh on the high end, but I think that was mainly due to the drums there. But there was a couple of other things with the drums where, in actual fact, some of the fills were a little bit loose. Maybe that's what you're alluding to there, Ricky. And I kind of didn't mind it, to be honest with you. It just had that nice. Oh yeah, it feels like a band playing. It wasn't bad enough to be really uncomfortably bad. It was just, oh yeah, you noticed. But you know, I really like the song. There was a lot of double tracking, loads of double tracking of the main vocal. And with some particular voices, that works really, really well as an obvious effect, right? Because when I do it, I normally just try and blend them in so that you can't actually hear the double track. But with some voices and some styles, you can get away with doing it all the way through the song. And I think it was done all the way through the song there from Tony. And maybe, Ricky, I think maybe what happened is some of those doubled vocals got a little bit of out of balance in the mix, which is why you were hearing it on one side. So that would be something I'd be careful with there, Tony, if you were going to look at this song again. I sort of feel personally that it's such a good song, it's worth re-recording. Yes. And even if you use the same sort of idea of setting up basically a live session, and I know Tony's been at this for some years, so with everything you've learned in between, Tony, you can apply something, because I think the song's worth it. At first I thought, oh, this sounds like a Kinks song or something like that. Maybe it was something similar to the Kinks, but then there was this real modern vibe to it at the same time, which I really, really liked. The only other thing I would mention just on the mix as well, when Tony watches, I think as much as I love that Gretsch guitar, that was a little bit too loud in the mix and was masking your vocal a little bit here and there. Just one of those things. If it came down 5%, it would make like all the difference in the world. But yeah. Well, didn't we have a great show in terms of music, guys? It was one of the better quality shows we've had in terms of music. So I want to thank all of the artists that have submitted their music tonight. Really, just really interesting stuff to listen to. I actually don't regard myself as a sort of producer at all. Or anything like that, or even a guitarist. I primarily actually regard myself as a songwriter. Didn't know that, did you? That's what I enjoy doing the most, and it's the thing that I feel maybe I've got a bit of talent for. So that's what I was enjoying tonight. I love to hear other good songwriters. They were all three of them good songwriters. It's just something that gives me a buzz when people have, first of all, put it all together in a nice way, but then surprised you here and there with some, less predictable changes in what they do. That was where it was at for me tonight. Could I ask you to pick a favourite, Dan? Which one of the three struck you?
Well, I mean, I definitely liked all of them, as you say. Chrome Star had a certain resonated with me on multiple levels, musically, how they produced the video, even their logo. I mean, it's almost like it's a literal translation of the name, but worked. And I don't know if they made that or they found that and how that came together, but it was it's also a 5-pointed star, and as you all know, I'm a big Rush fan, and they have the 5-pointed star. So I got to give those guys the number one slot in this
We're
show.
gonna have to start We're gonna have to start counting, aren't we, Ricky? The times he mentions Rush. We're gonna
I know. Yeah.
They made me who I am today, right? So hey,
good on you, man.
Yeah.
So, Ricky, what was your favourite? And you can't pick Chrome Star.
Well, as it happens, I mean, if I'm very hard pressed to choose between certainly tracks 1 and 2, for different reasons. They were both superb, but I'm gonna have to go with number 1.
Yeah.
2 reasons. One is that I love sweet melodies, and that just hit the spot for me. The first one, and the sentiment. It's all in our minds at the moment, but I think he captured it in a beautiful way.
He did. He did.
In a really beautiful way.
It's amazing, isn't it, to think he mentioned he works in a supermarket as a shelf stacker, and it's amazing. You go your grocery shopping, you could be walking past a genius.
Yeah, he's wasted. Trust me, he's wasted.
Hands up whoever worked in a supermarket. I did.
Yeah.
Actually, I did work as a dishwasher, but never worked as a
It's the rite of passage for every musician to do a job like that, where you have to work really hard for a small amount of money. No one appreciates you. That's the rite of passage.
That's the essence of being a musician, isn't it?
Good picks, guys, and I find myself in the position of picking number 3, which, as I say, I really enjoyed with number 3. Just the songwriting part of it mostly. I mean, all of the other great characters it had, but there was just some really, just a nice feel, especially just to the chord progression in that song. Better than I could do in many, many ways. So I enjoyed listening to that. Great to have you guys on the show. Thank you so much to everyone who's taken part in the chat tonight, and it's very much appreciated. If you're watching on the replay, do let us know, and let us know what are some of your favourite moments of the show in the comments down below. I'm loving doing these shows very much, but I do want to hear more and more music from you guys. Keep it coming. Keep entering your music in. If you've got a friend who creates great music, tell them about it. Enter as well. And we will be seeing you, or I'll be seeing you every Thursday, and I'm absolutely certain you'll be seeing Dan and Ricky once again on this show. I love having them here. They're great guys. They're great at what they do. They're great musicians and producers. They're great sort of influences, if you like, in this. But more than anything, they're my friends, and I really appreciate hanging out with them very much. It's just great guys.
Likewise, Mike.
Just nice to have you here. And I'm going to leave the last word. I think it was to Ricky last time. So the last word tonight goes to Dan, also known as the Lonely Rocker. Dan, tell us all about it.
So, well, I'm going to say, just in the spirit of the music that we heard today, is I'm inspired by other musicians, and I'm happy to see that music creation in the purest sense is alive and well. And I encourage anyone out there listening and watching this show is that music is art is creation.